thank you guys and show you I can identify with everyone in the room. And the other component is touch a little bit about my story. And the third part is really the difference, and the key thing is what's getting done here at the Lewis Center, and how the journey, my journey, is now does not need to be the journey of others, because we have this great center where people care, people treat people with the utmost respect, regardless of their stature of homelessness or employed, or it's just with a great care and dignity, because we are a human society and we're all human, regardless of what category we fall in. The first thing, thank you guys for doing what you did. One thing I do have in common with you folks is I am a college graduate. And the other thing I want to talk about, dispelling some things about homelessness. One difference that we have, and I think it's great you're giving back, is called the president had to give of service. Because at the time I was in college, I was too self-centered, I guess, I imagine, because doing on a Saturday, doing what you did, I wouldn't have done. So I don't know if that was part of it. But I think it's great that FAU has part of the curriculum giving back, because I'm a true believer of, whether you want to call it karma or going through, you do something good. I imagine you guys are going to go home tonight and say, I did something different, go on, have fun, do what you normally do on a Saturday night. And I think it will come around too. And I hope you continue, and your generation's a big part of it, that's very service-oriented, that cares, because it makes a huge difference. Because one thing I've learned, if you get an opportunity to talk to someone who's disadvantaged or homeless, and you show them a little bit of kindness, you never know how far that can take things generational. Someone doesn't, be scared. I'm saying be safe. I'm not saying go up, put yourself in bad situations, but don't be afraid to show empathy or kindness to those less in need. Back to me, and then I'll go through. My story was, you guys are in college, I was in college, I never thought about homeless, there was never any reason for me to be homeless, and it's not a time to think about such dreadful things. It's time of hope, it's time positive. I went in the 80s, but the culture then was a lot of corporate, doing a business job. My background, I came from a poor family that lived in an affluent society, an affluent neighborhood, so these things that carried over with me. Part of this mental thing is I didn't want to share, I wanted to have the same clothes, I wanted to hide who I was because I felt they were rich, I was poor. And the other thing is I didn't communicate to people how I felt, because the theory was just keep it quiet. I like this young lady has a shirt, no perfect people allowed. I walked around, I said, I'm going to try to be perfect, you're not going to know about my insecurities, and I'm going to do really well. And matter of fact, because we had no money, the antithesis was I'm going to make a lot of money, because that's the key to happiness. Not about service, not about this. I went through college, grew up, I always never felt normal, something was wrong. So it ties into the issue of mental wellness. But went through, got a job for a corporation, one of these big corporations, too big to fail. Got in their corporate training program. Thought the world, was going through, as a good person, I cared. My only sense of giving back or really caring beyond my world, in the corporate world, was donating to United Way to contribute. The more you made, the more you asked to contribute. I was willing to do that, and I thought my sense was of philanthropic was to write a check. Through the years now, there's some stereotypes that are true. There's some of the issues become homeless are due to addiction and drinking and drugging and the consequences of becoming an addict. So to fast forward my story, I went through, I was successful, I went through the corporation, but I never felt quite the same. I never addressed certain underlying issues. So at some point, I chose to use alcohol as an escape mechanism. It progressed further on to I used cocaine. It was something, and I was not a kid in high school. I didn't smoke pot. I didn't do things. This would never happen to me. But the thing about when you don't feel good about yourself, you need a reason to feel good. And if you can't, when the money didn't make you feel good, it was a chemical, it was a substitute. But the thing about addiction is, but then it was control. I was going to be able to control things. Meanwhile, I'm getting into my first was my savings account, but I'm still doing okay, I'm functioning. Well, I'll just take a little of my 401k, because I'll pay it back. And then the addiction, the definition of my addiction is when you come to a point that you want to stop, but you just can't stop. And it's not even glamorous or fun. There's some fun times. When you get addicted, fun leaves the building. Now all you're doing is doing this to get your drugs every day. I just showed up to work to get my drugs until my stock options ran out, until my promotions ended, until I came down to live with my family. And you're a good person, but when you're an alcoholic and you're a drug addict and now you're a good person, they're in shock, and you have no money, you just become a burden. I personally defined myself like I told you, money, influence, power, trying to be perfect, now as a complete failure. Now my mental issues grew to the point I was suicidal. I went from feeling irritable, discomfort, not fitting in, to downright despair. I wanted to kill myself because I was a failure, and I was a failure to society. Now my issue is I didn't even know how to look for help. I didn't know how to go to counseling. I would have never thought to go to an either employment specialist or at school. I'm sure you guys have counselors. I never expressed anything. I hid everything to the point that I almost physically killed myself with the alcohol. I was just a drunk living at home with my mother at 48, causing all sorts of problems. And the consequences are the definition. Now, I wanted to stop, I couldn't. That's addiction. My path was I physically had to, unfortunately, I went from being a corporate person to, I got arrested on a domestic issue. I had to go to gun club, and there was this big white guy, scared shit at 45, going to jail. I had to go to a rehab, a state-run rehab, the bottom end. But I said, I'm tired of being in positions, and I'm glad they were all there, and I also had to check in this psychiatric units because I wanted to kill myself, and I didn't know where to go. And all these things are traumatic, and you don't need to go. When you go through, you don't get treated with all that much dignity. The key word to get in is say, I want to kill myself. My irony, I wanted to live. I didn't want to kill myself. That's why I was coming there. But I'm glad these social services were there. I was able to build up by staying clean. But at this time, if I had made one more slip, because I had been on the street for like 3 or 4 days, and I'm not built for it, it's hot, it's gruesome, the stories are for these gentlemen here, women have much harder stories. But through social services that are available in Palm Beach County, I was able to build up. But my thing was, because I did have a little education, could talk, I had to find it, I had to seek it out. It was here, it was there. How do you get a bus pass to go here and there? And it's really hard building yourself up. And I went through, thank God they were there, and they all helped me, but then I got through a program of long-term treatment, and a lot of it is now, I'm much more faith-based, I do give back a lot, and I go through. But the ability to see all the trauma that others have gone through, I didn't have it that bad, others had it far worse. Maybe mine shouldn't have happened and yours won't, but life happens with economy. Then I got asked to speak on this, and I felt uncomfortable, but I said, maybe this is where I can start giving back. Share some of the story, dispel one rumor. White guys are just businessmen and golfers. They don't become homeless. You know, only these guys become homeless, and it's not true. Families become homeless. There's a lot of reasons. So, but to be able to give back, and I didn't plan it. Things work out well. I heard about this Lewis Center coming. I worked for Goodwill. I started back with a minimum wage job, working hard, going through programs, continuing treatment, I still today, therapy, whatever, recovery programs are out there. Then I got a chance to work at the Lewis Center and truly give back. And the Lewis Center puts together all these services. It's almost like a one-stop shopping. But from what Maryland did in the Homeless Coalition, this doesn't look like an institution. Where I went, straight up looked like institutions, because that's what they were. Jail, psych wards, state-run psych wards, and bottom barrel rehabs. None of this celebrity rehab. No Dr. Drew. I mean, straight up, down. And it was great. It saved my life. Here, they put a lot of time and effort to provide dignity. The staff, some of us are experienced in this, so I can turn around, and when someone comes in on day one and says, I don't think I'm going to make it, like, I did. You know, you seem a lot stronger than me. You asked for help. You came in. And these are just not words. Asking for help is huge. Breaking down, sharing, showing your emotions, and we try to treat people with the utmost dignity here. But the key thing is, I'm now able to use my little corporate background. I do the numbers, so I can tell you, it's like about 3,000. We have a 90-day program here. Our goal is long-term continuum of care. It's not to stop at 30 days and you're back in the same situation. It's to provide you, the folks, with all the services they need to succeed. We start from day one, working on day 91 for our residents. Those who have done the next right thing have gone on to long-term housing. Or not. We have like a success ratio. I don't even think we'll be able to keep it up. It's so high. The beds are going to get filled. But we treat people with dignity, respect. I feel great about, you know, when you guys are going into an occupation, do something you love, because I never had purpose in my life, and I think now my purpose has found me. I think you guys are great. Continue to give back. have balance in your life, and you probably won't find these things. But the reality is, you're going to have economic struggles. I mean, these grants, these things like that, work hard, but do something you love. At least be in the field, because for me, I think I woke up one day, I said, I didn't want to do insurance. I liked the money, I hated the job. But now at least I found here, I love trying to make a difference through, operational efficiency. So that was my journey. I hope your journey is so much better. But I'm happy I'm in. I do believe everyone's thing happens for a reason. So the opportunity to speak to some young, bright students that are on the cusp of should have all the hope in the world, it's my honor. Okay? That's it.